I would like to introduce you to one of the most important parts of your cell, your mitochondria. Also known as the powerhouse of the cell, your mitochondria produce all the energy you need to do work, to fuel your body's activities, and keep your metabolism going. Now imagine, what were to happen if you had no mitochondria? Or if the function of your mitochondria declined such that you could no longer do any work? We often see this in aging humans and sometimes in astronauts after prolonged space travel. Now what if I were to tell you that there's an organism that actually just gets rid of its mitochondria? And even more, that it does so in the most metabolically active tissue in the animal kingdom, the insect flight muscle. The Colorado Potato Beetle is widespread throughout North America and Europe, and not only does it experience the same winter that we do, it has to survive it. So in the winter, when gas prices go up, their metabolism or metabolic rate goes down, and they enter a state of hibernation. And they're not just sleeping until the spring, they're actually lowering their metabolic rate by 88%. Now when I discovered this, I wanted to know how. So the first place I looked was, of course, the mitochondria, and measured oxygen consumption in the mitochondria because mitochondrial respiration, as we call it, determines their metabolic rate. And what I found was absolutely nothing. It appeared as if there were no functional mitochondria in the hibernating beetle's flight muscle. So to prove to my supervisor that I was right, I simply looked at the flight muscle cells using a high magnification microscope. If we look at this image, we see the flight muscle cell of a summertime beetle teeming with all these mitochondria. And if we look at the image to your right, we see something very different. Rather than a cell filled with mitochondria, we see remnants of structures of what look like they used to be mitochondria. In other words, these hibernating beetles are actually breaking down their mitochondria. So what happens in the spring? They stop hibernating and they need to be able to fly to find food and a mate. As their metabolic rate increases, they're actually able to regrow their mitochondria. So what's the difference between these beetles and, let's say, an aging human or an astronaut in space? Well, after they break down their mitochondria, they are able to regrow them on demand, and us as humans still can't. So in my thesis, not only will I learn more about how these beetles regrow their mitochondria, but I also hope to reveal insights as to how animals can actually regulate their mitochondrial growth and function, and maybe even learn a little bit about how mitochondria play a role in aging and even to promote the health of astronauts in space. Thank you.